Do we have comparables of what you guys assumed? Because I'm assuming it's blown out of the park now for as far as the tax increment that we were going to be getting as the city. This is more for actually Chris than it is, but great presentation. Thanks, Joe.
I know we can get it for you. I don't have it hot on my head, but
I know that.
yeah, I could get that for you and yeah, get a historical look on it. Sure.
The one piece I'll add to that, and this is just a thanks to our team and our capital partner, Wheelock Street Capital, who's been an investor in downtown West Palm, is that we've just accelerated our pace. So even though there's been some macroeconomic headwinds, as I'm sure you're all aware of, and a lot of projects that have been planned but not actually pushed forward, we're very fortunate to be able to get a project like the hotel, which typically comes much later in a development cycle, up and running at the very front end of the project. The same with the multifamily project, and obviously starting the sales process for the condos. Our view is that, you know, value in this district it's greater than the sum of the parts. So the quicker that we can do things and get them online, the better off we'll all be as the city and as the project as a whole.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much. It's great to see a plan come together, and it is exciting to see it continue to progress. And unfortunately, we have to terminate this conversation, but thank you again.
Thank you.
All right. This meeting of the CRA is hereby adjourned. We will convene as the City Commission in 2 minutes, 5:02. Let me call to order this meeting of the West Palm Beach City Commission. Today is Monday, January 5th, 2026, and the time is 5:02 p.m. First of all, Happy New Year, everyone. We will start this meeting off as we do all of our meetings with a moment of silence, please. Madam President, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Let me remind everyone of the rules of civility and decorum which govern this body. Officials shall be recognized by the chair and shall not interrupt the speaker. Public comment shall be addressed to the City Commission as a whole and not to any individual in the dais or in the audience. Displays of anger, rudeness, ridicule, impatience, lack of respect, and personal attacks are strictly prohibited. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, and similar demonstrations shall not be permitted. Please govern yourselves accordingly, as offenders may be removed from the meeting. Also, any person wishing to speak shall complete a comment card for each agenda item the person wishes to address, which shall include the person's full name, address, and the numbered agenda item. If the card is not completed in its entirety, the person will not be recognized. Madam City Administrator, are there any additions, deletions, reorganization of the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we received a request late this afternoon from the applicant for item 9.1, requesting that it be continued to the March 2nd, 2026 City Commission meeting. The board will need to take action on that item when you get to it.
All right, very good. Thank you. Commissioners, we do have the consent calendar, items 6.1 through 6.7. Are there any questions, comments on consent? Items 6.1 through 6.7. Do we have any cards on consent? Okay, hearing no comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, move approval of the consent agenda.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.1, resolution number 5-26, approving a conveyance agreement with Habitat for Humanity of Greater Palm Beach County, Inc., for the conveyance of city-owned property located at 614th Street for the development of an affordable single-family home. Ms. Spence?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Kimberly Spence, Interim Director of Housing and Community Development. This item is for the approval of a conveyance agreement for city-owned property located at 614th Street to Habitat for Humanity of Greater Palm Beach County. To give you some background on this property, in November of 2023, the city surplused the property, meaning that it was determined that it was not needed for city purposes. As part of that resolution, we also approved disposition of the parcel under the city's Housing Assistance Incentives Program, and that allows for disposition under several different strategies, including the transfer of property to a nonprofit for the development of affordable housing. As I mentioned, the property is located at 614th Street. This is at the intersection of 14th Street and Henrietta Avenue. It is in Commission District 1. The size is approximately 0.15 acres, and it is currently vacant. Conveyance of this parcel will support a coordinated neighborhood revitalization effort by expanding homeownership opportunities for low and moderate income households in this neighborhood. As you can see on the map here, the specific parcel in question is in the blue rectangle. The other rectangles, the 5 boxes, are 5 parcels that were previously conveyed for the same purpose, affordable housing, that are currently being developed by Habitat. So our department was approached by Habitat requesting the conveyance of this parcel to develop a single-family home that would be 3 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, and about 1,200 to 1,400 square feet of living space. It will include hurricane impact windows and doors and energy-efficient HVAC and appliances. The target clientele, as I mentioned before, are qualified low and moderate income home buyers with incomes at or below 80% of area median income. The sale, lease, exchange of city property is governed by the Code of Ordinances in Section 2-31, Part 27. That section also allows for certain exceptions that would apply to this parcel. One of those is that an appraisal is not required for the sale or lease of property to a non-for-profit, and also city property to be used for the construction or rehab of housing under an approved city housing program can be approved by a simple majority vote by the City Commission. To go over some of the terms of the conveyance agreement, it requires that Habitat will construct a single-family home and sell it to a qualified buyer at or below 80% AMI. It also establishes a construction timeline which requires completion of the home within 24 months of closing. It includes a 30-year restrictive covenant which will require the buyer to occupy the home for the entire affordability period. And it also allows the city to regain ownership of the property in the event the terms of the agreement are not met through a right of reverter clause. And finally, Habitat will be required to provide monthly progress reports that will allow the city to monitor the project throughout the entire term after conveyance through the entire affordability period as well. So that concludes my conclusion. Unless there are any questions, staff recommends approval of resolution number 526 for the conveyance of 614th Street to Habitat for Humanity.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Questions, comments, commissioners? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of resolution number 5-26.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Spence. Item 8.1, resolution number 4-26, approving substantial amendments to the city's annual one-year action plans for fiscal years 2024, 2025, and 2025-2026, authorizing submission of the substantial amendment to the plans to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and authorizing the mayor to execute all agreements and documents for submission of the amendment and use of the funds, and resolution number 6-26F, amending the CDBG program grant fund budget to reallocate funds to specific projects and to establish anticipated CDBG program income, the home program grant fund budgets to provide for appropriations of prior year home program income, and the Hopwood program grant fund budget to reprogram funds to specific projects. Ms. Spence.
Thank you. So this, again, is a routine item for our CDBG and home program. As you know, the City of West Palm Beach is a recipient of entitlement funds from HUD. Annually, we have to prepare, well, every 5 years, we have to prepare a consolidated plan which outlines the needs in the community as well as our long-term goals. And each year, we implement that consolidated plan through an annual action plan which identifies the specific projects that we are going to fund. Both those plans are approved by HUD, and when we make amendments to those plans, we have to notify and submit them to HUD as well. So the next two slides talk about the criteria for an amendment to a consolidated plan or an annual action plan. The federal regulations require that when the city amends an approved plan and makes one of the decisions, it has to amend a consolidated plan. So the decisions are outlined here. There's 3 of them. The 2 in yellow are the ones that are impacted by the actions that are proposed tonight. We are introducing an activity or funds, including program income, that were not previously described in an action plan, or in making changes to the purpose, scope, location, or beneficiaries of an activity. In addition to that requirement, there is also local criteria for a substantial amendment that's described in the city's citizen participation plan. The 2 areas that are being impacted, the measurable objective for an activity is being revised by 100% or more, and I'll go into details on the next slides on what actions we're proposing. And also there's a change in the use of funds from one eligible activity to another that results in an increase or decrease of more than 35% off the line item budget. So as it pertains to the CDBG program, there are 2 actions that we are proposing. The first is to reallocate CDBG funds in program year 24-25 to fund eligible public facilities and public improvement projects. So we're reprogramming funds in public services, about $155,000 to public facilities and improvements. Additionally, we are budgeting for anticipated CDBG program income in the current fiscal year, program year 25-26, of about $60,000. And the purpose of this is to avoid the need to come back for more amendments in the event that we generate program income. Under the home program, we are proposing to program unallocated home program income funds that were received in the previous fiscal year to fund eligible new construction and housing development projects. So new construction and housing development is already a project in our action plan. We receive program income from loan payoffs or interest payments that we accumulated during the last fiscal year, and we're now carrying it forward and allocating it in our current fiscal year. And finally, under the HOPWA program, we are allocating HOPWA funds in the program year 24-25 action plan to fund eligible tenant-based rental assistance projects. As you know, we partner with the Palm Beach County Housing Authority to pay rental assistance for about 200 plus households each month. So this change is to move funding from some administrative and supportive services line items to rental assistance so we can make those rental payments. This is approximately for 1 month of payment. As far as public comments, the federal requirements also require that we publish a 30-day comment period and give people a chance to comment on the substantial amendment. In this case, we had an extended comment period of almost 60 days because we had canceled some of our previous City Commission meetings for the holidays. So far, we have not received any comments on the proposed substantial amendment. If we do receive any tonight, that summary will be included in our substantial amendment that is submitted to HUD. And that concludes my presentation, and I respectfully recommend approval of Resolution 426 and 625F. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. Questions, commissioners, comments? Commissioner Fox?
Thank you so much for the presentation. I didn't write down the page number, but I think it was in the home program when you were talking about new construction being added. I'm curious if you can just talk a little bit about what that would look like. I know sometimes when we have the in lieu of fees for different housing projects, I'm always wary about having, a bucket of money for new construction because we have to look for partners to help us with that. We're not in the construction business, but I'm just curious if you can give us some examples of what that looks like. I think it's great if we have the opportunity to find partnerships to work with, but I'm assuming that's what we're doing. If you could just talk a little bit about
typically
it.
our home funding will be subawarded to a developer, nonprofit or for-profit, or to a partnership to do rental housing construction or home ownership construction. So a recent project or one that's going on now that you will be familiar with is Roseland Gardens. That is being developed by the West Palm Beach Housing Authority and Smith & Hensey as their co-developers. And so the city had awarded home funding to that development, $640,000, which is multiple years of funding for the construction of that project. So our department does not carry out the activity themselves. We enter into an agreement with the developer to expend the funds.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of resolution number 426 and resolution number 626F.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and second. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 8.2, public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 5150-25, amending the procurement code to create efficiencies by including the time for completing a solicitation, adding an additional procurement method applicable to unsolicited proposals in accordance with authority granted in Chapter 255 Florida statutes, and providing greater opportunities to contract with small businesses by creating additional flexibility. Madam City Attorney.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Kimberly Rothenberg on behalf of the City Attorney's Office and the Procurement Division. You're here this evening hearing second reading. Full presentation was made on first reading of the ordinance and the proposed amendments. There's been no changes since first reading, and we would ask that you adopt ordinance number 5150-25.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Commissioner Baduzzi?
If I could just get a little clarification as to what would actually trigger the ability, I assume, for the mayor to have that additional authority to contract with small businesses whose bid's more than 15% of the lowest bid. Would that be in any situation or any circumstance, or only if the initial low bidder has an issue or backs out?
No, what it is currently the code provides that the procurement I forget Frank Hayden's official title, but he has the ability up to 15% to allow for a waiver of that provision. After that, currently, there's no other ability to look at it if it's 16%, 17%, 20%. So what the code says is that if somebody provides a proposal that's outside of the authority of of Frank Hayden, that then the mayor and through administration can look at the budget and other factors to decide whether or not there's sufficient funding to go a little bit above that threshold.
Follow up, Mayor?
Yes.
Would I be correct in assuming, though, that the initial low bid would be considered primarily and that they wouldn't go to that process unless there's an issue with the initial?
It's only if they need to go to that process, if there's not another responsive bidder within the amount.
Thank
in
you.
the range.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, move approval of ordinance number 5150-25 on second reading.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 5150-25, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 66, Procurement, Article 4, Procurement Methods, Section 66-70 and 66-73, and Article 9, Small Business Program, Section 66-227 through 66-229 and Section 66-234, providing for codification, providing for severability and conflict, providing for an effective date, and for other purposes.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 8.3, public hearing and first reading of ordinance number 5161-26 for proposed amendments to the utilities element and capital improvements element of the comprehensive plan to update the 20-year water supply facility work plan sub-element and other sections of the utilities and capital improvements element as required by section 163.31776C, Florida statutes. This amendment will also update the capital improvement program of the capital improvements element consistent with state requirements.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Alex Hansen with the City's Planning Division. Again, this is Ordinance 5161-26. This is a city-initiated request for amendments to both the utilities element as well as the capital improvement elements of the comprehensive plan to update the 20-year water supply work plan and other sections of the utilities and capital improvements element. This is required by state statute, specifically Chapter 163. In addition, this amendment will also update the capital improvement program, or CIP, of the capital improvement element, also consistent with state requirements. A little bit of background, Chapter 163 of the Florida statutes requires the city to revise the 20-year water supply work plan within the comprehensive plan no later than 18 months after the Water Management District approves a regional water supply plan or its update. The South Florida Water Management District adopted its most recent update to the Lower East Coast Water Supply Plan on September 24 of 2024. Therefore, the city is required to update the work plan by late March of 2026. There are several reasons why the Florida statutes require local governments to update the water supply plan. Again, to ensure adequate water supply for current and future residents, to have a better position as far as funding assistance for whatever infrastructure is needed, also to plan for alternative sources that may take time to develop or finance, and also to ensure that the local needs are considered by the regional water suppliers, in this case, the South Florida Water Management District. In summary, the city is proposing the following revisions to the utilities element and the work plan. First, we are going to be updating the water level of service to reflect achievements of the city's water conservation plan and also to reflect the allocations to the city from the most recent consumptive use permit. The update reflects a revision of the allowable rate from 272 gallons per capita per day to 240 gallons per capita per day. In addition, we are updating population estimates and projections to reflect the most recent available data, with a projected increase in the service area population of approximately 16% over the next 20 years. I want to remind the board, the commission, as well as the audience that our water supply area, service area, covers most of the city. There are a few sections out west around Okeechobee Boulevard, south side of Okeechobee Boulevard, and some sections around Military Trail and 45th Street, which are part of the city, but they're not served by the city from a water standpoint. They're served by either Palm Beach County or Riviera Beach. In addition, we do serve the town of Palm Beach as well as the town of South Palm Beach. So the point is the water service area does not necessarily match the city's limits. We're also making some updates to some technical specifications for clear water withdrawal. We're also updating several sections dealing with alternative water supply to reflect some changes to the different aquifers that supply the city with some water. We're also revising dates so that we are consistent with the South Florida Water Management District Water Plan. Also, we are adding some different capital improvement projects. These are active as well as planned projects. These are for the next 5, 10, and 20 years. The amendment is also including some modifications to the city's water conservation efforts. This includes some provisions dealing with alternative water supply plans and reuse portion of the work plan. We are updating the planning timeframes. The previous water supply plan was a 10-year water supply plan, consistent with state statutes. The recent changes to the state statutes indicate that all planning documents need to have a 20-year planning horizon. So we're going again from a 10-year water supply plan to now a 20-year water supply plan. We're also changing some provisions dealing with new conditions, practices, and policies. And finally, we're amending a section dealing with the water treatment plant processes. In addition, the policy 134 of the capital improvement element is also being updated to reflect the water level service, which I referenced earlier. This is consistent with the standards proposed in the utilities element. Finally, the amendment is updating the capital improvement program, or CIP, which is included as an attachment to the capital improvement element. Chapter 163 of the Florida statutes also requires local governments to annually review the 5-year CIP to schedules to ensure funding of capital projects. This is to make sure that we are maintaining our level of service as far as including projects that are going to, again, being able to preserve the level of service that is outlined in the comprehensive plan. As far as next steps or previous steps, this item went to the planning board. This is an amendment to the comprehensive plan, so it went to the planning board, which recommended approval of this item at their November 18, 2025 meeting. We're here at the first reading. Because these are amendments to the text of the comprehensive plan, we are required to be submitting these amendments to the state and to different review agencies for their review. So we'll be sending this in the next few days. They'll be reviewing it, and as a result of that, we expect for the second reading to this item to be held in early March, which would be prior to the deadline that was required in the state statutes, the 18-month deadline. As a result, staff has recommended transmittal to the state and to the other review agencies of Ordinance 5161-26, based upon the findings that the amendment complies with the requirements of Chapter 163 of the statutes, as well as other state requirements, and the amendment is also consistent with other elements of the comprehensive plan. The motion that is here is a little bit different than what you have in the agenda cover memorandum, but this is the motion that staff is recommending. Thank you.
Very good. Any questions, comments, Commissioner Ward?
I'm sorry, I do want to point out that Victor Carosi and Derek Graziani from the Utilities Department, as well as Vladimir Janov from Engineering are here also if you have some more technical questions.
Very good. Commissioner Ward?
My question was going to be very technical. No, so the 20-year versus the 10-year, I mean, in theory, it kind of makes sense, but do you see any issues with then making a broader 20-year plan versus having the 10-year plan set to go? Obviously, it's our water supply. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think overall from a planning standpoint, it's better. It's a longer planning horizon, so I think it makes sense. And again, this is a requirement that applies not only to water supply plans, but to all planning efforts in the state. So I think it makes sense. Sometimes it gets a little bit trickier because now you are trying to project more into the future, right? So we're trying to have play with this crystal ball as to try to think what our future may be 15, 20 years into the future as opposed to 10. But from a planning standpoint, I think it makes sense to plan ahead, longer term, especially with something like water.
Yes.
That's what I worry about if we're talking about, and I know we haven't had an update lately on the Florida aquifer and what our plans are with that, but when it comes to oxidation and other things and other problems with water, and then obviously increased population, I guess in theory we can come back and say, hey, change of circumstances, we need to change our 20-year plan.
Yeah, and again, the plan will be updated in 6-7 years. So while this is a 20-year plan, it is not updated every 20 years. It will be updated in a few years. Also, if we feel that there's some other revisions that are needed, we can, again, coordinate with South Florida Water Management District in the interim.
Thank you.
President Lambert?
Thank you. My questions were along the same lines. I appreciate your questions, Commissioner Ward, and I just don't think that we can underscore enough how important and critical these capital improvements and modifications to our comp plan are to just making sure we have safe and secure water. I appreciate it.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain any cards on this? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Did Alex, I'm sorry, Mayor, did he propose a different motion that was on the slide?
Can we get that back?
It is the one in the slide.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mayor, move transmittal to the state and other review agencies of ordinance number 5161-26 based upon the findings that the proposed amendment complies with the requirements of Chapter 163 of the Florida statutes, other appropriate state requirements, and with other elements of the city's comprehensive plan.
Does she need to read the bit about?
Approving ordinance number 5161-26 on first reading and schedule second reading on January 20th, 2026.
The second reading will be March 2nd, 2026. With that amendment, do you accept it?
Well, it's not in this proposed language, but
That, because of the
to
time for
incorporate the dates.
transmittal, March 2nd would be the next reading.
March 2nd then, the second reading.
Correct.
Yes, I accept that amendment.
Now, does she need to go into this motion is based on the factual testimony, et cetera? The next paragraph?
Yeah, go ahead and read the rest, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. This motion is based upon the factual testimony presented, the staff report, the findings that the proposed amendment complies with the requirements of Chapter 163 of the Florida statutes and appropriate state requirements, and with the other elements of the city's comprehensive plan.
Okay, now it's been moved. Is there a second? Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Okay. Hearing no discussion, Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 5161-26, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, amending the utilities element and capital improvements element to update the city's 20-year water supply plan and the capital improvement program, CIP, stating the intent of the City Commission to amend the comprehensive plan in accordance with Chapter 163 Florida statutes and with other elements of the city's comprehensive plan, providing a conflicts clause and a severability clause, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you,
Alex. Item 8.4, public hearing and first reading of ordinance number 5162-26, amending the Code of Ordinances at Chapter 54 to provide the city with additional options to enforce the city's prohibition related to anchoring or mooring of vessels in the waters of Lake Worth.
Mayor, Commissioners, Kevin O'Brien with the City Attorney's Office. So I'm here with a brief presentation on ordinance number 5162-26 for the first reading today. This ordinance will amend section 54-291 of the city's Code of Ordinances, which regulate the anchoring and mooring of vessels in the waters of Lake Worth within the city boundaries. So just a brief definition, vessel is synonymous with boat and includes every description of watercraft, barge, and airboat other than a seaplane on the water, used or capable of being used as means for transportation on the water. The title of this ordinance will be Chronic Overnight Mooring or Anchoring of Vessels in the Waters of Lake Worth Prohibited. The exact language is below, which reads as, it shall be unlawful to moor or anchor a vessel for a period of 1 hour or more between 1/2 hour after sunset and 1/2 hour before sunrise for more than 30 days in any 6-month period in the waters of Lake Worth within the city, excluding any time the vessel is anchored overnight within the boundaries of a marked mooring field or any time the vessel is anchored overnight for the purpose of completing permitted marine construction, installation, or maintenance work. And something to consider, the reason why it's worded like that is because ordinance number 5162-26 follows the language of Florida statute 327.60 verbatim regarding the permissible local government regulation. So the 30-day requirement does not mean 30 consecutive days, but will apply, the ordinance will apply to any 30 days within a 6-month period. When it comes to enforcement of the ordinance, the West Palm Beach Police Department will present on the enforcement aspect at the second reading of the ordinance on January 20th, 2026. And that concludes my presentation.
Very good. Thank you for that presentation. Any questions, comments? Okay. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of ordinance number 5162-26 on first reading and schedule second reading for January 20th, 2026.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 5162-26, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 54, Offenses, Article 11, Offenses regarding Lake Worth, Section 54-291 of the Code of Ordinances, amending Section 54-291, providing for codification, providing for severability and conflict, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. I think we only have one on the quasi-judicial, so we don't need to make disclosures, right? That's correct. Okay, so item 9.1 is being continued. We will need a motion.
Mayor, I move to continue the hearing of resolution number 274-25 from January 5th, 2026 to the March 2nd, 2026 City Commission agenda to be held after 5 p.m. at the Commission meeting held in the Commission chambers at 401 Clematis Street, West Palm Beach.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now we will turn to comments from the public. And we have a few cards. And we'll begin with, I'll read your names. I'll read 3 names. Lola Tarasic, Michael Bernard, and John Cook. Lola Tarasic.
Good evening, everyone. Tennis again. This is a formal complaint against Kelly Collar and Armando Fana. Lola Tarasic. These two will be included in our complaint with the Palm Beach County Commission of Ethics, Inspector General, and State Attorney. The RFP is missing the equal opportunity small business section where local businesses can get certified and receive 10 extra points. Procurement refused to tell us who wrote the RFP, even though we did request a public record request. Ms. Color and Mr. Fana states false information on the handwritten evaluation sheets, which question the scoring and the procurement process transparency. For example, Ms. Color states under Skip's name, small complement of staff for the 3 courts. Also states under Coach Mark name, lack of explanation on how to staff all 3 facilities. Both companies listed at least 10 staff members. Ms. Color gave more points to USDA, who only attached 2-man resumes with no explanation on who and how are going to run the 3 courts. Mr. Farah states, lack of staff noted, and 2 people listed only. How would they staff multiple locations? These are false statements. Both companies listed at least 10 staff members. The 3 selection members ranked Skip for South Olive as first. Mr. Fana listed Let's Play Tennis first. Only Ms. Kohler ranked USDA as first, giving them 95 points out of 100. Her score is so high that it overpowered the other members' scores, even though USDA proposal was unresponsive in so many ways. The fee structure scores were tainted and numbers don't lie. Just check it. South Olive and Howard Park ladies are part of Palm Beach County Women League. This information was not included in the RFP neither. No background checks were done on the company's board members. Terminate this RFP, please. Bid tampering is a 2nd-degree felony. No neighborhood survey was done. No public opinion regarding mandatory fees hourly for hardcore usage, especially Gaines Park. RFP doesn't include support for equal opportunity and small business support. Doesn't include Palm Beach County Women Tennis League requirements and programs neither. As of now, all of us belong to that league. Please terminate this RFP and let the local coaches show you how will they do with these new beautiful courts. Just please stay local. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question?
We don't,
No
this is
question?
not interactive.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's okay.
Thank you.
Michael Bernardi. You could go to that one.
All right, I got some pretty basic stuff here.
You could state your name for the record, please.
My name is Michael Bennard. I'm a resident here. I live on Clematis. I moved here about 6 months ago. And it recently came to my attention that there is a ridiculous parking rule for residential parking in these city garages. Basically, you cannot leave your car there for more than 7 days without moving it. This makes sense for commuters and people who are coming here for work, but for people who live here and are paying for residential parking, the point of living downtown is so that you can walk everywhere and not have to use your car. Additionally, if I go on a trip, I have a 3-week trip planned in a few months. Who's going to move my car? I live here. That's where I park my car. There's no way to move the car unless I give some keys to a stranger or something, and I don't want to be liable for that. So I'm proposing some type of either removing that rule or having some type of pass for residents who live here to be able to leave their cars over 7 days. The other thing is I believe that the street parking on Clematis, specifically in front of the businesses here, and maybe the streets over like on like Banyan and forget what's on the other side. But I really think that the parking rules here are killing some of the businesses on Clematis, especially. Clematis is a great place for bars and restaurants and, a nights out on the town, but people who want to stop in, grab a coffee, grab a bagel or something, nobody wants to come to Clematis because they have to go park in a garage, walk down the street, pay $5 to pick up a $5 coffee downtown, right? And so I think that these spots that are in front of the businesses should be 10-minute free parking so you can run in and grab food or whatever, and I think that'll really support the businesses here. There's so many that go out of business so quickly if you're not like a big thing for the night, a nice sit-down dinner. So I really think, I want to run into McKeb's. I want to run into, there's a new tea bar opening down the street, and I feel really bad because people have to go park in the garage, pay $5 to get a $5 tea. I think you should be able to park, run in, grab your stuff, and I mean, the parking enforcement here is extremely predatory. You park in those spots for 2 minutes and you will get a ticket. It's unreal. I see FedEx drivers, UPS drivers getting tickets for like dropping boxes off and stuff. It's insane. So I really propose that those spots in front of the businesses should be 10-minute free parking. I think it'll really support the economy here.
Thank you. John Cook.
Hello, I'm John Cook for the record. My complaint basically is piggybacking off of his simultaneously. Basically, you have all these tickets out through the garage continuously. I pay $85 a month, which is getting raised to $125 in a garage, and yet there's like no cameras unless it's at the pay stalls, and yet my car got backed into. It's costing me $2,000 out of pocket. There's no accountability, and I basically got, let's say, in trouble or necessarily with when I was trying to deal with the police for the hit and run, just because I didn't move my car for 5 days. I work from home, I live downtown, Publix is right there. How am I gonna know when someone hits my car when there's no camera footage? And basically there's no like, I guess, protection for the resident or whoever's paying $85 a month, if not more, to have their car basically ensure that it should be okay. What if my car got broken into and other things were taken? Who knows? That's basically it. Thanks.
Thank you. That's all the cards I have, so we will now turn to comments from the dais, beginning with President Lambert.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, residents, for coming. I don't know if you're also a new resident, but I appreciate the engagement of folks coming out to our commission meetings. I know that they're not always very entertaining, but we do appreciate your feedback. It looks like our assistant city administrators coming to talk to you about those items. I wanted to wish everyone a happy new year. I hope everyone had a great holiday break. I know it was, for us, a really great time to reconnect with family and also to spend some time in a lot of the neighborhoods having their holiday parties. And it was really great to celebrate with so many folks around the city. We also had another great celebration in a District 5 neighborhood. Vedado Hillcrest neighborhood celebrated their 100-year anniversary. It was a beautiful ceremony. Thank you, Mayor, for being there and bringing them a proclamation. It was really neat to hear some of these residents, many who had moved away but came back and talked about the fight. It's a neighborhood that was under the flight path, and just some, discussions about the fights that they had to preserve that community over the years, and it was really neat to see a community come together like that. Also, City Attorney, thank you for putting together these documents regarding the tennis center RFP. I appreciate, I've asked a number of hard questions related to the RFP process, as I know my colleagues have from this dais as well. I look forward to reviewing these. I know we got these late in the afternoon, and we'll come forward with any additional questions. So thank you so much.
Commissioner Baduzzi.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you again, as Commissioner Lambert mentioned, to our residents for coming here and telling us your concerns. I think you do make some valid points with regard especially to the 7-day parking in the parking garage, and hopefully we can take a look at that in the future. No one will say that our parking department isn't zealous and working. They're out there every day, and you're right, you park there for 2 minutes and they're right on you. You either love it or you hate it. I came into this job not wanting to support the parking department because I couldn't understand why we were charging people so much money. I thought it affected businesses, but if you don't have a parking department, people will park in front of those businesses and just leave their cars there. And I've seen it and I understand that now. Certainly there has to be a balance, but I think that they are, zealously enforcing our parking regulations, so much so that on my way in here today, between here and the courthouse, one of our police vehicles has a ticket on the windshield. You'll see it when you leave. I was kind of surprised how zealous these guys are, but they are doing their jobs. I want to take a moment to congratulate Commissioner-elect Steve Sylvester on his unopposed election. Congratulations, sir. We look forward to working with you in the future and wish my colleagues and everyone here a Happy New Year.
Commissioner Fox.
Thank you so much. I also wanted to congratulate Steve. You are stuck with us now. I really appreciate the fact that every time we were in here in a meeting, whether it's a meeting that ends early like tonight or one that is at 10 o'clock, I look out in the audience and I see you there. I know you're going to be prepared from day one. So congratulations. I also wanted to address the residents that were here to talk about the parking. I know that the city administrator will be talking to you, I think, about some of the updates that we have, but just for others, we have a new director of parking administration, and I think all of us have had the chance to sit down with her in the last few weeks to talk about her vision and for her to ask questions of what things that we believe could be improved. So I have written down everything that you've said. I think that these are really valid points. I think the safety in the garages is one of her top priorities as well. So I know she's looking at ways to be more efficient and have more technology in the garages and also continue to have additional people and security so that people feel safe to walk there alone. I know that there have been times late at night if I walk into a garage and there's no one else around, it gives me pause for wanting to come back to that garage. So I just want you to know that those concerns are being looked into, and I think some of these other ones, including the 15-minute parking, I don't know if it's going to be free, but I know it is something that we've talked about a bunch to just try to help the businesses on Clematis to be able to, if you're a salad place that just somebody wants to come pick up lunch, they shouldn't have to pay for 2 hours of parking. And so I appreciate those comments, and I also wanted to say a huge thank you to our fire department, since I see some of them in the audience. Commissioner Warren gave you a shout out earlier at our CRA meeting, but since you're here now, thank you so much. We had this fantastic toy drive in the historic Northwest that was made possible by a lot of people, but including you and the donations of toys, and also you're participating with bringing your fire trucks, which is always something that the kids love to see. Darren Studstill, who was the host of that event, I saw him in the hallway earlier tonight, and he is also already thinking about next year and how you can be involved. So thank you very much for making so many kids happy and having a wonderful holiday. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Commissioner Warren.
Thank you, Mayor, and I love the way you enunciated my name so that Commissioner Ward and I knew which one of us you were talking to. I appreciate that very much. And there's so much to celebrate, and I'd like to celebrate and say congratulations, Steve, as well. So often I hear people say, I'm going to run for commissioner, I'm going to do this, and I want to run for this office. And they don't necessarily know some of the things that it takes to run and to be involved and do the work and put in these hours that are necessary and all of the background. And I remember when you first thought about supporting our city in that way, and to see you be unopposed. I think Commissioner Peduzzi is the only other person on this body that has that was elected unopposed the first time that they ran. So congratulations to you for that. I think that it says a lot about you, Steve. And congratulations to Cardinal Newman High School football team for making history for their first FHSAA 1A championship. They defeated the previous champions down in Miami. So I know two of my colleagues are graduates of Cardinal Newman, so go Crusaders, and go Commissioner Peduzzi and Commissioner Fox. I know that you're celebrating that with them as well. Wishing the West Palm Beach Leadership Class of 2026 hosted by the Chamber of Commerce of the Palm Beaches, a successful and inspiring 6-month program. As you begin this week with orientation, may this journey strengthen your leadership, broaden your perspective, and deepen your connection to our city. I hope you discover many new things to love about West Palm Beach and gain insight into people, places, issues, solving issues that you may not have known before. Best wishes on a meaningful leadership journey. I am looking forward to attending Palm Beach County Day in Tallahassee on January 13th and 14th and proudly representing West Palm Beach at Florida State Capitol. This is an important opportunity to connect, communicate, and exchange ideas with local leaders and Florida legislators while expanding our collective knowledge on issues impacting our communities. I'm honored to help amplify West Palm Beach's voice and advocate for continued collaboration and progress. The South Florida Fair begins on January 16th and runs through February 1st, and I very happily attend all of those kickoffs to the fairs. They're always tremendous fun, and that kickoff is on January 16th. Pepsi National Battle of the Bands in Boca Raton is happening on January 17th, shining a light on the Pepsi National Battle of the Bands coming that Saturday, Martin Luther King weekend at Flagler Credit Union Stadium in Boca. This is a must-see family and cultural event, an unforgettable experience and something for everyone. You'll see a lot of our HBCUs participating in that the Battle of the Bands. And I'd like to just piggyback on what Commissioner Fox said in reference to the toy drive that took place in the historic Northwest. Again, commending Commissioner Fox and our City of West Palm Beach Fire Department. But what a tremendous effort from the National Panhellenic Council. It was, again, just I've never seen a local toy drive that had the impact that this one did in our community, and so many kids that received the toys from this event. It was really phenomenal and heartwarming. So thank you all for your support of that event. And wishing the West Palm Beach residents a Happy New Year, wishing all West Palm Beach residents and my colleagues renewed strength, mentally, emotionally, and physically. May this year bring continued growth and positivity and resilience as we move forward together and leave negativity behind, embracing so many wonderful things in our future. Please know that your city remains committed to serving you and supporting our community. We sincerely appreciate you and look forward to the year with optimism for West Palm Beach. Thank you.
Commissioner Ward.
I didn't come that well prepared. Thank you, Commissioner Warren. Happy New Year, everyone. I also want to send my congratulations to Steve. I know that I'm up for election as well as Christy, so I hope to be able to serve with you in this next term. I did want to comment because on the parking situation, I know that this was discussed when we first changed the rates, or rather this body did. I think I came in right afterwards. And the discussion was, what do we do about the person who's going to pick up coffee real quick or something real quick? And I know that we recently heard that when you leave the spot, it used to be like my personal, habit was I used to look for green because I'm like, well, at least there's some extra, dollars there that I can spend. And now it completely shuts off because it knows when the car moves. Maybe we just delay the start where the system knows a new car has come in, and for 10 minutes or what have you, that we allow that permitted use of, hey, they're going in quickly and then they're going to be moving. That gives us a way of tracking it, or at least our parking division a way of tracking it. So I just want to throw that out there while I'm thinking of it. And I know, Armando, you're taking notes, right? Okay. The Martin Luther King Jr. Coordinating Committee is hosting its annual series of events commemorating the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Two signature events to note include the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Kickoff Service, which will take place on Friday, January 9th at Landmark Memorial located at 2400 Flagler. A reception will follow at In Time Church of God of Christ at 1025 7th Street. And then the other is the annual MLK Breakfast and Scholarship Awards, which is on Monday, January 20th at 8 a.m. at the Palm Beach County Convention Center for their annual breakfast, which honors the work of Dr. King along with other influential community leaders, while also rewarding students for various skills. This year's keynote speaker is attorney Sean Pittman, managing partner of Pittman Law Group and founder of consultant of ESP Media Productions. And that's all I have. Have a good night.
Thank you. A few things. I am proud to share that we close out the year with another successful Sandy's New Year's Eve with Ferris and fireworks on the Great Lawn. 10,000 residents and visitors came together for live music, great local food, and a spectacular midnight fireworks finale over the Intracoastal. The fireworks display presented by the Downtown Development Authority in collaboration with the Flagler Museum was a highlight of the night, and I want to thank them for their partnership and sponsorship. But, you know, events like this don't happen by accident. They happen because of the hard work of our city's various departments and our police department, who work together to ensure a safe, seamless, and welcoming experience for everyone. Their teamwork made this celebration a true showcase of what collaboration looks like in West Palm Beach. It was a beautiful way to end the year and a reminder of what makes our downtown so special. Our next Soul in the City jazz experience at the historic Sunset Lounge will take place on Wednesday, January 21st from 7 to 9 p.m. This month, we welcome Copeland Davis, an internationally acclaimed jazz pianist whose symphonic style has taken him from The Tonight Show and Good Morning America to the Las Vegas Entertainers Hall of Fame. He will be joined by the legendary Avery Summers, a South Florida icon with a powerhouse voice and a Broadway resume that includes Ain't Misbehavin', Showboat, and Chicago. Tickets are available at WPB.org/jazz. That's WPB.org/jazz. And then I'd like to take a moment to invite our community to join me for my 2026 State of the City address, hosted by the Chamber of Commerce of the Palm Beaches on Thursday, January 29th from 7 to 9 a.m. at the Palm Beach County Convention Center. Each year, the State of the City is an opportunity to reflect on where we have been and where we are headed together. Event details and tickets can be found at palmbeaches.org. So that concludes my remarks for tonight. On the Cardinal Newman, we'll be having a more formal presentation, proclamation. I think it's at the January 20th, but it's an upcoming commission meeting. I think it's January 20th, so we'll be more formally recognizing them. So that concludes my remarks. Good night. Happy New Year, everyone. God bless you in the great city of West Palm Beach. This meeting is adjourned.